Okay, so today is my dad's 6th-year anniversary. Not really sure if you'd call it an anniversary, but 6 years since my dad has passed away. And I just felt this urge today, like I really wanted to speak about it, to be honest with you. Don't know why. I feel like maybe it's cathartic for me to speak about it, get it off my chest. Maybe it could be something to help somebody who's going through their own loss. And something about it being 6 years today really has made me obviously quite emotional. And I don't really think I've, like, apart from like my close friends and family, really know much about it, to be honest. And I believe in keeping things authentic, and I guess it's just my way of like speaking about what's happened to me and what happened to him. And I don't think I've really, like I say, I've really talked about it before. So I don't know, I just really wanted to speak about it today. So don't ask why, it just is what it is. So today is 6 years, like I said. And the way that my dad passed away was very, very sudden. Very sudden. And I already feel emotional just even like coming in here to do this, because it just feels very like, I don't know. I don't really speak about it often, and not because I don't want to, it's because it just doesn't come up. And I guess there's another reason why I really want to make this, is because I really want to help people be able to speak about it with people, and to also be able to, you know, realise that it's such an important part of life that happens to everyone. And it's not something that we should not speak about. It's not something we should scare ourselves to be like about speaking about. And I think, you know, even some people might think like, why has she posted this, you know? And my answer to that is, why would you not post about this? Because on my Instagram at the minute is like about my life, about my career, about things that are happening for me. And that's most people's Instagram, whether it's like holidays, friendships, love, anything like that. That's what they post about. But they don't speak about the bad things, and the bad things are what make us, you know, who we are. And the fact that you wouldn't speak about death on your social media or on like, or to friends or to anybody around you is quite weird, in my opinion, because it's like this little box in life. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like this little box in life that we all go through at some stage. And we all struggle so badly to speak about it, whether it's like, even my partner, Dave, like we went out for like a little anniversary meal today, and he literally apologized to me. He said, "I'm so sorry I don't ask you more about your dad." And I'm like, why is it? Like, I said to him, why is it that you don't speak about him? Or like, why? Because I genuinely wanted to know. And he said, "I suppose I'm nervous about your reaction." And I was like, that's so nice for you to tell me that, because I will tell you right now that anyone that has been through death of a loved one wants to speak about it so badly. Like, it's like in their heart to speak about the person that they've lost. And like, bless Dave, like he doesn't want me to be sad ever. And it's not like I'm sad. I'm like, I'm used to it now. You know what I mean? Like I'm used to the loss, and I'm okay with the loss as well, just for reference. But it's more like people worrying that it's going to like reignite this sadness in you, that it's not the case. And I suppose that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, is because like, it's not the case that you're going to reignite sadness. It's like more the way of like healing. Like, I believe so truly in my heart that healing is from communication and about speaking about how you feel. And I said to him, like, don't ever think of it like you're worried about like asking me about him. Think of it as a friend. Like, my brothers just went to Australia, for example. Think of it, he asked me earlier on, how's Connor doing in Australia? And I was like, oh, he's absolutely nailing it, all of his stuff. Think of it like that. think of a question that you would like usually ask somebody about anybody, and then it gives them an avenue to speak about it freely. And he really appreciated that and appreciated me explaining that to him. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to kind of explain what happened to my dad. So me and my dad were best friends in the whole world, and he was, sorry, I didn't actually think that it was, I'm actually not sorry, because that's like what I don't like when people say sorry for crying. But sometimes I just like have these moments of just like thinking about how much he meant to me. And how important he was in my life. Like, he was everything to me. And I'm glad that I'm crying, because in all honesty, I don't cry about him anymore. I've not cried about him for ages. And on his birthday and his anniversary, like when I actually take time to go and sit and think about it. Like I said to Dave, I was like, I need to go and just have a little think about him for a second. And he was like, that's fine. But it's when you like actually sit and think about how much that person meant to you, it can like give you a bit of a lump in your throat. So he was my best friend in the world. He was my best friend. He understood me so fucking well. And it didn't matter what happened in life. He just understood me, and he was so supportive, and he was like my biggest cheerleader. But not just that, like, I understood him, and he was a very misunderstood person as well. And he came to me for his problems even when I was like so young, and that made me feel really valued and really trusted by him. And I think that's what really kind of like set us a foundation off as our, you know, how close we were. And there was no judgment between us. And I suppose it's the first time in my life that I've ever really felt like really the crazy thoughts I was thinking and the things I was like, that's gonna happen, this is gonna be my life, there's all these things. He saw it in me. He really did. And yeah, he's just my biggest cheerleader in the world. And I was his, I suppose. We spent so much time together. And yeah, the day that he died was probably the most surreal thing that I've ever been through in my life. Not many people know about this, to be honest, but my dad was unwell for a couple months. Obviously he was unwell longer term, but like I didn't really know about it. I was in Aberdeen University at the time. Well, Robert Gordon University. I was living in Aberdeen, and yeah, he had a couple heart attacks over his life. He was a smoker. He was a drinker, but you know, he always made it through, sort of thing. But he had a recent heart attack, and he ended up saying to the family, he was like, should I get stents or open heart surgery? Which basically, if you don't know, stents open heart surgery is a bigger risk, but it elongates your life. Stents are a short-term solution, but the fact of the matter is you get like 5 years. So as a family, we were like, oh, obviously, like, we want the open heart surgery to be the answer, but it's up to you, you know, it's a more serious operation. Anyway, he ended up doing that, and it was successful. It was really successful. But then after the operation, he started really, really going downhill, like massively, and to the point where we were just kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to remember the feelings I felt. I was just feeling like maybe he's just had a bad reaction. Like, you know, you never think that your dad's gonna die. You never think that. And like, if you have thought about it, you think, and you go into this mad wave of like thinking about it. But you never actually believe it to be true. And anyway, he had the open heart surgery, successful, like I say, in the hospital ever since. When I say ever since, it was like, you know, a couple of weeks. But he was massively degrading, like massively degrading. And he didn't tell us that he was like really suffering. So I went down a couple of times, and I think because I had this connection with my dad, that I'm just so close with him, he could, it's almost like he didn't want me to be around because I would get so like emotional, and I would try to be normal, but I could see his pain, and he knew that. And my brother and my mum were much better. They could chat to him about life and all these things, and I just couldn't. And anyway, long story short, turns out that he had cancer as well. And no one knew about it. My mum didn't know about it. My mum and dad weren't together at the time, but they were still really good friends. My brother didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. And because the operation, like, you know, you have to be healthy to recover from an operation. It kind of like kick-started the cancer. To the point where I was supposed to see him and go down and see him before Christmas. And I'd actually written him. I'd written him this massive letter telling him how much he meant to me, and that I was so excited to see him like at Christmas, and feeling guilty that I hadn't been down more often because I'd been in Aberdeen. It was obviously like fucking 4 hours away. And Apple, the place I worked at, were fucking cunts at the time, and they didn't let me go down because he wasn't like dead, essentially. Even though I asked so many times if we could go down and see him, because he really wasn't feeling well. And the morning came round, the worst day of my fucking life, and it was 6 years ago to this day. I got a phone call from my mum, and like, I never ever leave my phone. Never leave my phone on loud, like, ever. And I don't know why I did that today. And my mum phoned me, and my mum's mum, so my granddad, was really unwell at the same time. Really unwell. So I picked up the phone, half asleep, and my mum said, you know, Dad's not okay. And I was like, oh, what's happened? Thinking it was my granddad. And she was like, no, your dad. He's not gonna make it. And I was so fucking confused. I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you actually mean by that? I thought he was fine. You know what I mean? No one's told me anything. I thought he was like recovering. I didn't know anything about his cancer. So, she phoned me, and then she said, you have to come down to the BGH, which is like the Borders General Hospital, which is, by the way, 5 hours from where I am. And the first train's not till like 5 a.m. and it's now like 1:30 in the morning. And Mum was just like, yeah, that's not gonna make it. And I was just like completely sense of shock. I didn't know what she was talking about. Obviously, you always have this like sense of like complete disbelief, but also hope that that's not the case. So I was pacing my flat, smoking fucking chain cigarettes until it got to the time I could get a train. And I fell asleep because I was absolutely exhausted on the train, and I was like, I had my hood up the whole time, trying to like fall asleep to like get rid of it, I suppose. And my brother phoned me, maybe like 2 hours south, so I was still ages away from them. And he said to me, you need to sorry. I'm so sorry. It's probably not very pleasant to watch, but I didn't actually think I was going to be like this, to be honest. Oh my god. I'm just like, looking at myself in the mirror, I was fucking stay. It just said to me, like, you need to say goodbye to Dad. He's like, you need to say it. Oh my god. You need to say your last words to him. I actually was like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, what do you mean? And I don't know how to explain it other than like a complete fucking nightmare. Like, I was like on this train going down, hoping that this was all a fucking dream. And my brother phones me and I can hear my dad on the other end, and he was in a coma. And he couldn't say anything. And I was told I had to say my final words, and I was just like, what is that? Like, what do you... I'm a very, very, very emotional person. I just like to be told that I need to say my final words to the person that was like my best friend. I didn't even know the day prior that he was gonna die. Like, I was such a shock to the system. And it took me so long to process. It took me so fucking long to process it. And I just remember that I couldn't be next to the person I was sitting next to on the train. I had to like go into like, there's nowhere to go. Like, there's no, like, I couldn't go into the toilet because there was no signal. So I remember like there was like a corner, like almost like the corner of this room, which was like the door, the way the door opens in the train. And I remember like having my head into the corner and just being like, and just telling him how much I loved him. And I just felt like so like conflicted because I remember thinking, stop being so fucking selfish. Stop being so upset. Like, that's going, like, that's dying. Dad doesn't want to hear this right now. He wants to hear love. He wants to hear how much he's loved. And he wants to be feeling peaceful, to let go. He doesn't like, I just couldn't be peaceful. So I was like pretty much screaming, and all of these people around me on the train were like staring at me as well. I was like, honestly, I can't even explain how bad the situation was. I was like, anywhere but being on a fucking moving train right now. So I was like, oh, I didn't know even what did I say, like a fucking blur, but I just remember screaming, being like, I love you so much, Dad, and like, you don't even understand, like, please don't go, please don't go. God, this is so traumatic for me. Like, I didn't even realize this was gonna happen. I think it's because I'm speaking about it. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I just need to, like, I bottle things up quite a lot, even though, like, I seem like I don't, but I do. Like, I really haven't really told that story in a long time, or to anyone really, properly anyway. And then I got to Edinburgh after this phone call, thinking my dad was still alive, like fully thinking like this is not happening, because I can still hear him on the phone, like he's not speaking, but I can still hear him. I'm thinking like I just need to race to the borders and get to him. So I got off at Edinburgh, and my mum's partner Jock picked me up. I went speeding as fast as possible. Like, it was so fast, and I remember thinking like, drive faster, until we finally got to Borders General Hospital. And then my brother and mum was outside the front, of the hospital, and they was just stood there, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, let's get inside. Like, why are you standing outside? And I remember, like, I remember basically sprinting past them, and I was running up the stairs, not really knowing where I was going, and Connor, my brother, was like, Meg, do you know that he's gone? And I was like, no, he's not. He's not gone. I can actually believe it. It's like my whole world like came like completely crashing down in that moment. And I fucking remember I couldn't breathe at all. And I've always had like asthma like my whole life, and I could not breathe. And I fucking screamed like I've never screamed in my life. And I don't know how to explain that feeling. Like, it's like your whole life's been like everything you do on a daily basis, everything you believe, everything you know, think, everyone around you or your loved ones, and then all of a sudden one of them's gone, and the best part of your life is gone without even thinking about processing it. It wasn't even, and I always think this, I'm always like, what would be better, like knowing someone's gonna die or like them just dying? And I don't know what it is, to be honest. I don't think either's good. But I think the shock, the honest to God shock, like, I knew my dad was unwell, but I thought he would pull through. And to know from one end of the day to the other that he died. He died before I got there. And then my brother and mum told me that the last thing he said was Megan. The last thing he said was my name. Oh my God. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. This is so emotional. I did not think it was gonna be this emotional. Like, I've spoken about him so many times. And I think because like a part of your brain, I suppose, like blocks out the actual traumatic part of the day. And you're like, it's weird because you see people cutting about, like doing their normal thing, and you're just like, my dad's just fucking died. And to make things worse, to make things so much worse, I went back to the house with my mum and my brother. And earlier on I mentioned my granddad was also unwell at the time. That's why I thought she was initially saying that my granddad was unwell. He died the same day. My granddad died a couple hours later. It was unbelievable. My poor fucking mum. That is like serious. But I couldn't even process my granddad. And that sounds terrible because I love my granddad, but like I couldn't even process anything. I went on a serious downward spiral after that. And my brother, bless him, he was looking after me so much, and my mum was as well, and we had the most beautiful like Buddhist ceremony because my dad like practiced Buddhism. But it really bothered me going back into my work and everyone just not acknowledging it. And I think that's probably another reason why I wanted to make this video, is because, not because of people's fault of their own, because it's not their fault, it's because of society and the way that we talk about death. And I remember I thought to myself, like, why is no one asking me? Like, obviously, like, I remember when I was in Apple, again, didn't have the best time in Apple, but there was a position called on point where you had to like be at the front and like greet people and be like, what do you want to buy today? And I didn't give a fuck. Like, I couldn't give a monkeys about this job. And then I remember I was approached by one of the managers, and was like, "Are you distracted? Like, you missed a couple people coming in." And I was like, "Am I distracted? Like, are you so insensitive that you didn't actually realize that potentially I might be distracted?" Like, and it just dawned on me that, like, people don't know how grief works unless they've gone through it. And if they've even gone through it, they don't know how to process it. They don't know how to, actually heal. And so I made a podcast, which is some people know about, but it's the reason why I got my radio job. I made a podcast called McHugh Corner, and it was to invite people in to talk about grief and to talk about the loved ones, really, and to talk about like the things that they went through and the trauma of that, and like, you know, the things that they've learned and the way that they look at life now and all of that. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was like one of my favourite things I've ever done. I got a bunch of different friends on, a bunch of different like people that weren't friends, a bunch of different people that went through loads of different things. My favourite episode probably ever was with my best friend Nathan McLean. He's lost both his parents and is just such a fucking inspiration to me as a human. He's like a brother to me. He lost both his parents at such a young age and is such a good man. And yeah, I just felt like when you connect with people on that level and you can speak about it freely, you feel like a bit of therapy. Like, not saying that the podcast was therapy for anyone, but I'm just saying for me, it was therapy. It really, really helped me because I was going down a bad track. I was drinking too much. I was all over the shop doing bad things. And being a bad person, to be honest. I was being a bad person. I was being a fucking arsehole to people around me, boyfriends, friends. It was a lot of hard work, and I always blamed it on that. And that's not okay either. Like, me being a bad person, like, is not, you know, you can't blame situations that have happened to you for your actions. And then I learned that. So I ended up getting my first radio show from that podcast completely out of the fucking blue. It was picked up by a content director. I already worked at Northam One, the radio in Scotland at the time, as like a traffic and travel presenter, whilst I was at university doing like the roads, talking about literally the roads and how busy they were. And this podcast was picked up, and yeah, I was giving my own show. From there, I went to I went to Glasgow. I did my own proper show, like a big one by myself, which was crazy. I then came to London. I wasn't quite satisfied with what was happening in Glasgow and where I was at, and thought I could do more. So I reached out and did more things with Capital Dance and Capital. I reached out to so many different people. I didn't know anyone in London when I moved. I didn't know a soul. I had one friend, and his name was Josh. He was my best friend still, but he works offshore. So it wasn't like a regular friend in London. I moved in with two people who are complete strangers, and one of them's now one of my best friends. I've got a new boyfriend who I've been with for a year now. I've got a dog. I've just been, my tunes just made like, it's had 250,000 people listening to it. I've been signed by different labels, and I've got a new manager who asked me yesterday, didn't ask me, he said he was proud of me yesterday, and like, I don't know, just broke down in tears. Because I feel very emotional this time of year, as you can imagine. I've got a beautiful brother who's, nailing life in Australia with his fiance, who's also absolutely gorgeous. My mum, who is just an absolute queen, and has really like been through a lot, and I really respect her. I respect the ground she walks on. And yeah, I'm just, I suppose, 6 years on, so much has happened. Fucking COVID happened, and my dad wasn't even here for it. And I guess I'm just proud of myself for actually taking on the emotion and working through it. And actually, like, my brother said something so profound. It was like, you know, we have a superpower now, Meg. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, because nothing could be worse than this, you know? Nothing can hurt us more than our dad dying. So now we can take on anything. And I remember that to this day, because I remember thinking, fucking hell, that's so true. Like, I used to care so much about what people thought about me. I used to care about everything. I used to be so uptight and like I used to be just that person. And then one day I was like, you know, take a fucking look in the mirror, you know, like, why are you the common denominator? You know, what have you done to like excel this situation? Or like, what have you done to help yourself? What have you done? And I remember thinking, like, I was just a big fucking pity party at the end of the day. And it's not who I am. And my dad would not want me to be like that. My dad would not want me to be sitting groveling over him. He would want me to fucking nail it. He would want me to fucking tell everyone around me who said I can't do it to go fuck themselves. That I can do anything I want to do in this life. And I'm a queen. That's what my dad would tell me. My dad would tell me that I'm a fucking queen. And I'm powerful. And that he believed in me. And to not ever doubt myself and who I am and who I am for this world and what I've done for this world and all the things I've achieved. And that's what I'll always have with my dad. And what I'll always have with myself is at these moments where I feel doubt or worry or not sure which way to go, he'd always say to me, Meg, I believe in anything you want. You can get anything you want in this life because you're so driven. You're so, like, you know, your mind is strong. You've got a good moral compass. And you know what's good and what's bad, and you know what you want. Sometimes you have to make mistakes to learn it. You're not a perfect person, but you're not a fucking, like, you don't give up. And he would always say that to me. He would listen to me, he'd understand me. And yeah, 6 years on, I feel the happiest I've ever felt, despite this video, because I've been crying the fucking whole time. She got makeup everywhere. Oh God. It's everywhere. God. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so peaceful. I have been through quite a lot of shit in the past year, but overcome it. I've met the man of my dreams. The man I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. I know that for a fact. He completes me in every way. I know who my friends are. I know who means a lot to me. I know what I mean to myself. For the first time in my life, I've actually been like, yeah, I know what I'm fucking talking about. I know what I'm doing. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself and how far I've come. And I genuinely believe in my heart that every single time that something happens to me, I feel my dad's presence there. And I want that to be like a message as well to people who've lost someone, that throughout the rest of your life, without that person, you will feel their presence. They are there with you. And unless you've been through it or unless you believe in that, you might think that's a load of waffle, but I don't care. Like, I know when I feel my dad's energy. I know when I feel at times in my life where things have happened completely unexpected or completely unexplained on certain dates. I feel my dad's energy there. And I believe that he was the best thing that ever happened to me. So as sad as it is that he was only here for 23 years of my life. I'm now 29. you know, he gave me the gift that was him. And I think cherishing those years, even though he was older, like he died when he was nearly 70. He was an older dad. I think that gave me the wisdom of him and the time, because he was older and he had more time to spend with me, and I could learn that from him. And I cherish every single fucking minute that we ever spent together. And I know that he knows that. And as much as I wish he could see me now, I know that he is with me. So, yeah. That's it, really. And I just really reinforce people to please be open if you've lost somebody. Please talk to somebody if you don't know how to speak to your friends about it. Write things down. Cry, scream, do anything. Like anything other than hide it. Because my brother hid it for a long time and he ended up having like this panic attack situation going on purely because he was looking out for me and my mum, and he didn't actually acknowledge his own feelings. And that's so normal. And he's fine now, but he had that situation for a long time and he was like thinking he was dying, but it was just because he hadn't processed his dad dying. So I encourage conversation, I encourage opening up, being authentic, allowing yourself to be emotional. Stop saying sorry when you cry, which is why it's so funny, because at the start of this I said sorry for crying. But yeah, we need to be here for each other in these things, and everyone goes through it at the end of the day in its life, and we need to cherish the memories of those people that meant so much to us. So even just speaking about my dad, I feel like lighter now. Even though I still feel very emotional, but I feel a lot lighter. So I'm sorry this was so long. In fact, no, I'm fucking not. I'm not sorry it's so long. Watch it if you want, don't watch it if you don't want. It's for me at the end of the day, but yeah, hopefully it's helped and made a bit more understanding about this day to me. And yeah, my message to my dad was, thank you so much for being a fucking beacon of light in my life that I needed, and for still being that beacon of light, because it's not often you get someone that's such a fucking star, you know. So yeah, that's it.